Stole rats.
This is Brian with Project Kitfox, and this video will be heading out to Idaho, summer of 2018, with a stop off at Sulphur Creek and then down to Thomas Creek. And we'll be making some trips down the river, hitting some strips that I've wanted to for a long time, and that is Mahoney, Lower Loon, and Cabin Creek.
I just took off out of Redding, climbing up over Lake Shasta right now. We're 5,000 feet for 9,500. Looking for some good winds, heading on our way to Idaho. Be meeting up with my dad in Lakeview. Get some fuel there, then on to Cascade. Took about 4 hours total, all the way to Sulphur Creek. It's coming up on Ontario. Boise's out there to the east. Still at 9,500. We started picking up little patches of turbulence. Pretty good updrafts and downdrafts, varying about 300-400 feet now through cruise. All right, about 18 minutes out of Cascade. Yeah, I've got my jacket on. Got a lot cooler just in the last 45 minutes. I've got the heater on full. We're at 9,500, and it's pretty chilly in here. So I've been in the air now for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and about 17 now out of Cascade. That was the longest leg of the trip out, and so far I've burned 14 gallons, got 13 left. Right now I'm at about 5.5 gallons an hour. They're just coming off the ridge about 5 miles west of Cascade. A little bumpy on our descent here. That Cascade's at 4,742 feet. I'm coming down through 7 right now. Cascade traffic, yellow Kitfox on left base, 30. Cascade 20 kilo, final visual. There you have it, we're Cascade. Alright, getting ready to take off from Cascade and head over to Sulphur Creek. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera. We'll climb out. It should be about 18 minutes, Sulphur Creek.
And it should be on the website the same as it's on TV. Okay.
As we go into Thomas Creek, Mahoney, Lower Loon, and Cabin Creek, I'm going to be providing some images and some information that come directly from Galen Hanselman's book, Fly Idaho. This is a great resource. If you're going to be flying in the backcountry of Idaho, I highly recommend you get a copy. I'll put a link in the description of the video so you guys can go get a copy. I personally got the iPad version, which does come with all the waypoint information for each strip in the backcountry of Idaho. And it also allows you to reference it in flight. So that's a great option, and I highly recommend it. Okay, next stop here is Thomas Creek. It is at an elevation of 4,400 feet. The runway is 2,075 feet long, and the recommended runway is upriver, landing runway 21, departing downriver runway 3. Thomas Creek is probably my favorite place to land in backcountry of Idaho. Just off the right, you can see there's a little bit of a grass area. The river widens out right there. It's a good place to turn base. As you come in on final, you can expect a little bit of a sinker coming up over the river. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward landing. Land upriver. There goes the cabin underneath us to the right. It's pretty cool because there's a big drop off into the creek coming up right ahead here. So it's kind of a carrier landing. And this particular day, there was some mud. Some wet spots in the runway, so I offset to the left and landed long to miss the pools of water. But other than that, pretty straightforward landing and a great place with good access to the river. And when possible, you want to depart Thomas Creek downriver runway 3. There are times though when there's a strong tailwind and it will require you to take off upriver. It is possible. There is a big hillside at the far end of the runway, so you will be required to make a left turn as you climb out. A little bit intimidating the first time you do it, but it can be done. Yeah, the next airstrip downriver from Thomas Creek is Mahoney Creek, and it is at an elevation a little bit higher at 4,618 feet. The runway is uphill and a length of 2,200 feet long, although it doesn't look like it's that long when you're making your approach. You fly past it downriver, make a turn back upriver, and you have to pass a pretty sharp ridge in order to drop in on final. Right here I'm approaching back upriver after making the turn. This is the ridgeline I was talking about. You gotta carry your altitude until you pass over this ridge. And once over the ridge, you can make a slight right turn to line up with runway 21, and you'll be landing uphill. Pretty straightforward departure out of Mahoney. You're going to take off downhill, and once airborne, you're going to make a left turn downriver to avoid the ridge that we made our approach over. Just downriver from Mahoney is Lower Loon at an elevation of 4,077 feet, and the runway length is only 1,200 feet, slightly uphill. It's surrounded by steep terrain, and you're going to make your approach by passing Lower Loon downriver, making a left turn, and then approaching back upriver to runway 16. Alright, starting a left turn here to turn back upriver after passing Lower Loon. I'm about 1,000 feet higher than the strip at this point, and I have to be in order to pass this ridgeline coming up ahead of me. Very steep terrain, and you got to be a little aggressive to get down in order to land. So as I come over this ridge, I'm actually going to put it into a slip to lose altitude. Now it's a bit of a dogleg approach. You can see I'm not lined up with the runway. It's out about my 11 o'clock. So I'm actually aiming for the right side of the river at this point, for the tops of the trees. And as I get down closer, I'm going to make a slight left turn to line up with the runway. So I'm just following the trees, give myself safe clearance, but that's what I'm basing my altitude on right now, is tree top clearance. And right as I come up on the river here, I'm going to start a little bit of a shallow left turn to line up with the runway. You can expect a bit of a sink here as you come over the river. A little bit of power may be necessary. Alright, departing Lower Loon can be a little intimidating because as you take off, you're looking right at the canyon wall. But once airborne, you're going to climb straight ahead till you hit the river. Then a slight right turn downriver. That ridge that we came over on approach is your big obstacle, and you're going to try to outclimb that ridge. If you can't, then you can make a right turn, kind of a chicane turn down the river. It can be kind of tight. So the best option is to outclimb that ridge. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this was helpful if you're heading out to Idaho. Give you some idea what you're getting into. I'm going to wrap it up here, and then in the next video we'll pick it up as we head down to Cabin Creek. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll look forward to you guys watching the next one.
Stole rats.